If you love baseball just as much as I do, today's video is going to be so much fun to watch because we're going to go ahead and talk about the #1 hitter from every single ball club. And this one's going to be a little bit more fun because Anthony Rendon doesn't have to compete with Juan Soto anymore. He has to compete with Mike Trout. So we're going to decide who is the better hitter between both of those guys. Same with, you have Aaron Judge with a couple Yankees players. You have Whit Merrifield and Jorge Soler. And also my favorite matchup today, Pete Alonso versus Jeff McNeil. So if you guys want to see more videos like this, make sure you go ahead and slap a like on this one as well as subscribe. The goal for June is to get to 200,000 subs because the updated report breaking today is the fact that baseball might be coming back. If we can get to 200,000 subs before then, I'd be stupid happy. But without further ado, let's start talking baseball. Starting with the National League and the Atlanta Braves, you might think that I'm going to say Ronald Acuna Jr. because he is in fact the best player on the Braves, but we're not going to go that route. I'm going to give the crown of best hitter on the Braves to Freddie Freeman. The reason why I say that is because in 2018, he led the National League with 191 base hits, 44 doubles, and then he backed it up in 2019 with the career high 38 home runs, 121 RBIs, and a 938 OPS. So he was well above league average in pretty much every single department. But I think that we can agree for right now's sake, Ronald Acuna Jr., he's not as refined as Freeman in the box. So yeah, my first pick goes to Freddie Freeman. So if you guys missed the news, Corey Dickerson signed a contract with the Miami Marlins for the 2020 baseball season. And we can tell that he's automatically going to be their best hitter. They don't really have a ton of studs in that lineup, especially considering they traded away Giancarlo Stanton, D. Gordon. You know, we're not going to talk about that, all right? We're going to stick to the video. In 2019, Corey Dickerson ended the season with an insane 906 OPS. Now, he's not going to play the best defense in the entire world, but this video is not about defense. Chicks dig the long ball. We're talking about offense. He had a career high in 2017 with 27 home runs. His career OPS is 832. So over the course of his career, he has been well above average. So the crown of the best hitter for the Marlins is going to be Corey Dickerson. But if you think it's Jonathan Villar or Jesus Aguilar or Jorge Alfaro or Brian Anderson, let me know. This might shock you guys, but if we're talking about the best hitter from the New York Mets, Jeff McNeil is not far behind his buddy Pete Alonso. So of course, I'm going to give the title to Pete Alonso for today's sake because in 2019, he did erupt with 53 home runs, 120 RBIs, and a 941 OPS, but his OPS plus was at 148. If we take a look at Jeff McNeil, he was just behind with a 144 OPS plus in 2019 and about 80 less at-bats. So we don't know if McNeil would have erupted for a 7-game streak of hitting a couple home runs. He's never going to be a 40 home run guy, but he doesn't strike out like Pete Alonso. He's always going to hit 300. So I think that you can make the argument that in terms of what they're good at, it's completely different and it kind of balances out to being completely effective hitters. So who do you guys think is better? Pete Alonso or Jeff McNeil? I think this one is pretty self-explanatory, especially because of the second half that Rhys Hoskins had in 2019 where he barely hit 200. Actually, I don't even think that he hit 200. So the title of best hitter for the Phillies, it goes to our man Bryce Harper, who now might be underrated. So many people talk smack about this guy, and he produced at a high clip in 2019. He could be undervalued. Yeah, I'm saying that. So the Phillies, obviously Bryce Harper. You can't talk about Bryce Harper without bringing up the Washington Nationals, and for 2019's sake, I think their best hitter was Anthony Rendon, but we talked about it in the intro of today's video. He's with the Angels, so the debate between Mike Trout and Anthony Rendon, that's going to come later. But in regards to the 2020 Washington Nationals, there is no debate. The 20-year-old, well, he's going to be 21, World Series champion, the guy that hit 34 home runs, had 12 stolen bases even as a cherry on top. He walked 108 times and finished the season with a 949 OPS. Juan Soto might be the best young hitter this game has ever seen, which is speaking volumes because Ted Williams was a young teenage hitter in Major League Baseball. There's Ken Griffey Jr., A-Rod, Bryce Harper, and the fact that he might be the best, that's crazy to say. Actually, real quick side note, this has nothing to do with the video, but Ted Williams had a 1,045 OPS at 20 years old, so maybe that was a little bit hyperbolic about Juan Soto being the best, but it's still relevant. He's a beast. So we talked about how the race between Pete Alonso and Jeff McNeil was a whole lot closer than maybe you guys want to admit to, and the same goes for the Chicago Cubs. So you guys know the stats of Javier Baez, Chris Bryant, and Anthony Rizzo. Who do you think is the best hitter out of that three-headed monster? Is it the lefty Rizzo? Rizzo? Is it the righties, Chris Bryant or Javier Baez? If we're talking about my opinion, I think that Chris Bryant has a higher ceiling considering his power. His OPS usually hovers in the 900s, so when you take a look at the OPS, it's kind of an easy pick to go Chris Bryant, but if you guys can convince me otherwise, maybe the Javier Baez route or the Anthony Rizzo route, please let me know in the comment section down below. This next team is going to be really fun to talk about because they added a few really elite bats to their 2020 lineup. Mike Moustakas, Nick Castellanos, they also called up Aristides Aquino, and he showed that he can rake as well. But are any of those guys the best for the 2020 conversation? In my opinion, I think that for right now, it does still land with Eugenio Suarez. He strikes out a lot, so just put that out of the conversation right now. He is going to strike out, but he also has 50 home run potential. In 2019, at 27 years old, he ended the season with 49 home runs, 103 RBIs, and a 930 OPS. He came in 15th in the MVP conversation. So if you don't think that he is one of the better right-handed bats in the National League, you're wrong, because this dude is elite and he is definitely dangerous. So this next team is going to be super easy. The Milwaukee Brewers' best hitter goes to Manny Pena, their catcher. Obviously, I am joking with you guys. Christian Yelich, there's no debate. He literally looks like Barry Bonds, and I mean, I think he looks like that because he was topped by Barry Bonds his final year in Miami. Then he got traded to a hitter's ballpark and absolutely erupted. One of the best hitting talents that I've seen in my entire life. I mean, the dude is special. I never expected Brian Reynolds to be one of the better hitters in the National League if we're talking about contact hitters, but he was in 2019. Now, it's not enough to give him the crown as the best hitter on his own squad because Josh Bell, he hasn't retired yet. At 26 years old in 2019, he had 37 home runs. He had 74 walks to 118 strikeouts. Now, I know that sounds like a lot, but it's actually pretty decent considering strikeout numbers were sky high last season, and he ended it with a 936 OPS. So he's a switch hitter. That OPS is wild. He's going to be a home run hitter for quite some time, and also age is on his side as well. So I think that he's going to get a little bit better in 2020. Maybe not too much, but his ceiling is very high, and he's my pick as the best hitter from the Pittsburgh Pirates. Imagine having a down season and still ending the year with 34 home runs, 97 RBIs, and 821 OPS, and finishing in the top 20 for MVP. That's how good Paul Goldschmidt is. At his worst, he's still an above average hitter, but I think that he's going to bounce back. Tommy Edman looks like he's going to be a stud, but it's not enough to take the crown away from Paulie. So for 2020's sake, the best hitter still in St. Louis is Goldie. Ooh, the Arizona Diamondbacks. This is going to be the battle of the Martes. Is it Ketel Marte? Is it Starling Marte? And if you asked me this 2 years ago, I would say Ketel Marte in the same conversation as Starling Marte as a hitter. Yeah, in 2019, there's no debate that Ketel was one of the best hitters, not only on his team, but in all of Major League Baseball. And again, I say this is crazy because if you go to 2018, he set a career high in home runs with 14. His career high was 14 before this. He goes from 14 to 32. His OPS goes from 968 to 981, and he only struck out 86 times, so he's never going to strike out. He's going to get his fair share of walks. He can hit 32 home runs, have 9 triples. How did he do that? Who saw this coming? I know I didn't, so if you guys are believers in Ketel Marte, I mean, you must be excited about 2020 because at 26 years old, he might be even better. If you're a Rockies fan, I know that you're going to have my back in the comment section down below, regardless of how hard it might be to choose Nolan Arenado over Trevor Story, especially considering Trevor Story's 2019 season where he had 35 home runs, 23 stolen bases, and a 917 OPS. He is legit. Now, the only thing is, he does kind of benefit from the Coors Field effect. Now, I'm not saying all of it, but he is a much worse hitter, a below 800 OPS on the road than being on his home turf. Now, that does not apply to Nolan Arenado. Away from Coors Field, he almost had an 870 OPS, so he is well above average on the road and just an absolute maniac in Coors Field. But we expect that from every Rockies player, so if we're talking about just overall, I think Nolan Arenado does take the cake over Trevor Story. Maybe he improves. We're talking about Story. I don't know if his ceiling is that high, especially talking about Nolan Arenado, who might be a top 5 hitter in all of baseball. You guys want to know something funny? I put Cody Bellinger on this list as the best hitter from the Dodgers, and I thought he was the runaway hitter, but I forgot because of the whole fact that the 2020 season has been delayed, and I'm forgetting that players were traded or signed with certain teams, that Mookie Betts is a member of the Dodgers, so we have to take him into consideration as well. So who do you take? 27-year-old Mookie Betts, who's won an MVP, or do you take the young gun, Cody Bellinger, who is going to be 24, who just came off an MVP season in which he had 47 home runs, 115 RBIs, a 1,035 OPS, and he led the league with 351 total bases. Now, if I go back to Mookie Betts, in a down year, he still had 29 bombs, a 915 OPS. Who do you go with? Mookie Betts versus Cody Bellinger. I mean, you want to go with Betts because he has the track record, but you want to go with Bellinger because it seems like he has the higher ceiling. I'm going to go with Mookie Betts. I'm saying it right now. Mookie Betts is the best hitter on the Dodgers going into 2020 because the last time that we saw Cody was in the playoffs and he looked horrible. He was also worse and worse and worse as the season progressed. So because Mookie got better and Cody Bellinger got worse, yes, I'm going to give the crown to Mookie Betts. The Padres are an interesting team because they have Manny Machado, who had a down season, so you don't know if that's what you're going to get for the next couple of years or if you're going to get the sky-high ceiling of Fernando Tatis. So because of what we saw, the 9-something OPS in 80 games with a ton of home runs, he is going to strike out a lot, but I think that he can learn from players around the league, and Tommy Pham, who doesn't strike out a lot, his new teammate, I think that he can cut that down and become one of the most elite and most productive shortstops offensively that we've seen in the last decade or so. I mean, he's that good. I think he can be even better than Xander Bogaerts. So for my pick for the Padres, just from what I saw, the ceiling for Tatis is higher than older Manny Machado. Does that make sense? That's just my opinion. I always butcher this last name, so, cut me some slack. Mike Yastrzemski, I think I said it about as well as I possibly could. The grandson of the Hall of Famer Carl Yastrzemski. Okay, I said it right 2 times in a row. He's the best hitter on the Giants. I don't care what you say. There are a few prospects for the Giants that could come up and dethrone him, but the dude had an elite season. I'm going to give it to him. He's got the blood. He's got the genes. He's ready. We just finished up with the National League. The Giants were our final team from the NL, so we're going to go ahead and move on to the American League and start off with the Baltimore Orioles. I'm going to go ahead and give the crown to Trey Mancini, and there might be an asterisk next to this because he probably is not going to play in 2020, but considering how bad the Orioles have been and how much weight he's had to carry, I don't care who they put in the lineup. Even if Trey Mancini comes back and is hobbled, he is by far their best hitter. I give this man all the props in the world because he even wants to stay in Baltimore. With how bad they've been, I tip my cap to this dude. And again, my thoughts and prayers go not only to him, but his family as well. If he can come back healthy, maybe play a few games in 2020, he's going to rake. And then looking forward to 2021, he could have his first 40 home run season, and I'm looking forward to that. If we're talking about the toughest decision in today's video, we have to bring up the Boston Red Sox. The Red Sox have a 3-headed monster that is even better than what we talked about with the Chicago Cubs. Xander Bogaerts, Rafael Devers, and JD Martinez, they could have had Mookie Betts in that same conversation and they traded him away, but they could re-sign him. Who knows? 2021 could be an insane offseason. But I'm going to give the crown to JD Martinez. He was my pick for the best hitter in 2019. I think that overall, he's got the batting average, he's got the home runs, he drives and runs, he has the OPS. Bogaerts is coming around and becoming an elite offensive shortstop. Rafael Devers led the league in base hits, I believe. So, I mean, no matter who you pick, it's like pick your poison. They're all stupid good at hitting. It's not fair what the Red Sox have. They continually pump out some of the best hitters in baseball. So if you're a Red Sox fan, must be nice. Although the pitching, that's a different story. Aaron Judge. I don't want to hear it. Aaron Judge is the best hitter on the Yankees. I know that DJ LeMahieu had a great 2019. He really did break out, and he showed that his ceiling is a whole lot higher than what we thought it was when he played for the Rockies. It's not Gary Sanchez. It's not Mike Ford. It's not Mike Tauchman. It's Aaron Judge. And I'm going to stand behind that. His power is legendary. His OPS speaks for himself. Aaron Judge, even though he strikes out a lot, is the best hitter on the Yankees. And I'm sorry if you don't think so because you're missing out on some of the best prime that we can ever see from a power hitter. So if you don't believe in Aaron Judge, please, I beg of you, get on the bandwagon right now because he's special. He's so good. Now that I think about it, if the Pirates had kept Austin Meadows, who was the best hitter on the Tampa Bay Rays, they would have had Brian Reynolds, Kevin Newman, Josh Bell, and Austin Meadows all in their prime in the same lineup at the same time. That would have been scary. I would not want to be a pitcher facing that squad. But yeah, the 2020 Rays, they have a few boppers in their lineup, but I think overall as a contact hitter, a power hitter, just an overall guy in the box, I'm going to give Austin Meadows the crown, and to be honest, I don't think it's very close. He's that good. Here's a spicy conversation for you guys. Who is the best hitter for the 2020 Toronto Blue Jays? Is it Vladimir Guerrero Jr.? Nope. Is it Kevin Biggio? Nope. Is it Randall Grichuk? Nope. Is it anyone else other than Bo Bichette? Nope. I cannot wait to see how much better Bo Bichette gets if he plays a full season. Now, unfortunately, he's not going to get that in 2020, but hopefully he can, get his sophomore slump out the way in a shortened season and then come back in 2021 ready for a vengeance. I mean, he already set the record for most consecutive games with an extra base hit. I believe he started his career with a 9 or 10 game hitting streak. The guy is a hitting machine. He's an automatic doubles hitter. He's going to have 200 base hits multiple times in a single season throughout his career. I can't wait to see how much better he gets. 2019 was all I needed to see from Yoan Moncada to say that I think his ceiling is going to be higher going forward when you compare it to Jose Abreu. Now, other people on the White Sox might actually have higher ceiling. What's his name? Luis Robert, the new outfielder that is most likely going to be joining the squad this upcoming season, if there is a season. But for right now, 25 home runs, 315 batting average, and 915 OPS. That was the stat line for 24-year-old Yoan Moncada. He was always supposed to be good, but he finally put it all together, and I think that he can get better considering he missed 30 games and still did that. Yoan Moncada is special. He has my favorite swing in baseball. I wish that he was on the Indians. That would make my heart super happy, but instead he's just going to rake against my favorite team for the next decade, and it's not going to be fun to watch. Well, kind of, because his swing is so smooth, but not because he's going to destroy us. This might shock you guys, but I do think that Jose Ramirez is a better hitter than Francisco Lindor. 2019 doesn't really count because the first half was so bad, but he was pretty much Christian Yelich or Barry Bonds in the second half talking about Jose Ramirez. If we take a look throughout his career, he's had a 940 OPS in 2018, a 960 OPS in 2017, and he almost never strikes out. So the reason why I'm saying Jose Ramirez is better than Francisco Lindor is because they both have the same power, but I think that Ramirez is better at walking and not striking out. And also, Lindor has never had an OPS higher than 871. Now, that's still really good. That is above average. That's an elite hitter, but they're both switch hitters. I just think if you compare both of them side by side, I think Ramirez is just better overall. Now, if we're talking about the best player between the two, obviously it goes to Francisco Lindor because he's going to steal a few more bags and his defense is platinum. He's that good. The 2020 Tigers are going to be a whole lot better than 2019. Now, it might not be by much, but considering they picked up Cameron Maybin, Jonathan Scope, and CJ Cron, I think they're going to be good, but their best hitter is Miguel Cabrera. Even after a down season, his 2020 spring training stats might be evidence that he has less body fat, his swing might be a little bit quicker than what it was, and considering the shutdown only helps out guys like Albert Pujols, the older dudes, and Miggy included, I think he's going to have a big season. Honestly, I think he's going to be their best hitter. Power versus contact. Jorge Soler versus Whit Merrifield. There's no denying the fact that Jorge Soler is one of the best hitters in MLB The Show 20, whether it's ranked seasons or Battle Royale. I know I shouldn't be talking about video games, but that's the fact. His power is so otherworldly that he instantly becomes a threat every time that he steps into the batter's box. But it was kind of a flash in the pan season. We haven't seen him do this before, so I'm going to give credit where credit is due. One of the most underrated and undervalued superstars in baseball is Whit Merrifield. The guy gets 180 to 200 base hits every single season. He's gonna get on base. He's gonna get driven in by his other teammates. I just love Whit Merrifield. Everything about him, his hit streaks, his sneaky power, his sneaky speed. What's not to love about him, honestly? The 2020 Minnesota Twins are going to be the most lethal team that I've ever seen in my entire life. When you have Miguel Sano possibly lining up to be your 7th or 8th hitter, that is not fair. So they have a bunch of different candidates that we could have chosen for this video, including new free agent signing Josh Donaldson. He had a crazy 2019 season offensively. I think he ended at exactly a 900 OPS, so he did it. He showed the world that he is not washed up, but you can't take anything away from Nelson Cruz. Do you guys know what he did in 2019? The guy missed 42 games, okay, and had 41 home runs with a 1,031 OPS OPS at the end of his... Honestly, if there's one guy in baseball or two guys that I don't want to face, it's Christian Yelich and Nelson Cruz. Also Mike Trout, but he doesn't count. This one is pretty self-explanatory, especially after the season that he just came off of. Apparently, now again, guys, I know how much you hate the Astros, but apparently, and according to Major League Baseball, they played a clean 2019 season. So when you have Alex Bregman hitting 35+ home runs, driving in 100+ RBIs, having more walks than strikeouts, and his OPS was through the roof while playing pretty good defense, he is their captain. He is their best hitter. It's not Jose Altuve anymore. It's not George Springer. In my opinion, it is Alex Bregman, but we're not going to talk about the Astros any more than that, I promise. So in 2019, Anthony Rendon broke out for easily his best season in Major League Baseball. He had a 1,010 OPS, a 153 OPS plus. He came in third place in the National League MVP voting. He also led the National League in doubles and RBI. So all around, when you factor in the 319 batting average, the dude was elite. Cream of the crop, top hitters in baseball. And then you look at Mike Trout. So we talked about Rendon's 153 OPS plus. If you guys don't know, a 100 OPS is league average. So we know Rendon is above and beyond one of the better hitters in baseball. So 153 for Rendon. What was Mike Trout's? 185. He led baseball in on-base percentage, slugging percentage, OPS plus, and intentional walks, en route to winning another MVP. If you ever get bored, please go into Mike Trout's baseball reference, because you could spend a full hour just looking at it and your jaw drops, and you might get lockjaw. He's that special. He's that insane. If you are one of those people that says Mike Trout's overrated, kick rocks. This one might be blasphemy, or you guys might clown me for this one, but as a hitter, I'm strictly talking about hitting baseballs in a batter's box. I think that Matt Olson is better than Matt Chapman. Now hear me out. Olson is going to strike out, but so is Matt Chapman. Olson is going to have a low batting average, and so is Matt Chapman. But I think that Olson, he has the power potential to hit 45 to 50 home runs in 127 games. So the dude almost missed 40 games in 2019. He still ended the season with 36 bombs, 91 RBIs, and an 896 OPS. All of those are better than Matt Chapman. So they both play good defense at their positions. Matt Chapman is clearly the best defensive third baseman in baseball. But if we're talking about hitting, I am going to give the crown to Matt Olson. And honestly, I like his swing. I like everything about him. He's really good. First and foremost, before we start talking about the best hitter from the Mariners who didn't even really play in 2019, I just have to say, my heart goes out to all of you Mariners fans. You have literally a bottom feeder franchise. They never try to get better. I don't know what they're doing, so my heart goes out to you guys. You deserve better than that. But the best hitter on the Mariners, what is it, Mitch Haniger, Daniel Vogelbach? Honestly, like, I don't really care, man. They're so disrespectful to you guys. You deserve better. But I guess my pick is Mitch Haniger. I think he's going to come back healthy. Maybe it's Shed Long. Maybe it's Jared Kelenic if he gets called up. I don't care. And last but not least, the final team that we have to talk about today is the Texas Rangers. They're going to be playing in a brand new ballpark, and I think that Joey Gallo is going to dismantle baseballs even more so at 26 years old. He made his first All-Star team. He hit a home run in that game. Unfortunately, his season was derailed by injury, but he was on pace for 50 home runs, a plus 950 OPS. He was striking out a whole lot, but that's Joey Gallo. His ceiling is 50 home runs, 200 strikeouts, and 980 to 1,000 OPS with pretty good defense. Joey Gallo's my boy. You guys know that. He's my pick for the Rangers. Well, everyone, that is going to do it for today's video. If you made it to the very end, I want to go ahead. I wish I could hug you, but you know, the whole social distancing, the fact that we're all behind computer screens and phone screens. But I would hug you because this was a crazy long video. I've been thinking about starting a podcast, so if you want to see longer videos like this where we talk about baseball or social events or stuff that's happening in life, upwards of 25 to 30 minutes, let me know in the comment section down below. Leave a fat like on today's video, and if you want to see a part 2 where we talk about the best pitchers from every single team, let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out. If you're bored and want to watch some more content, 2 videos are on the screen right now, and also do not forget to follow me over on Twitch. We talk about baseball, we play MLB The Show, it's a great time. I'll catch you guys there. Have a wonderful day.